one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Holt.
Here.
Nikki. Here. Sarah. Here. Phillips. Here. Linn. Bradford.
Here.
Tatum.
Here.
Lemings.
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
You have before you a copy of the minutes from the last meeting. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You have before you a copy of the treasurer's report. Do I hear a motion that we accept the treasurer's report?
Make a motion to accept the report.
I second.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the treasurer's report. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You have a copy of the appropriations analysis. Do I hear a motion to approve the appropriations analysis?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the appropriations analysis. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? County Road and Equipment Report. The auction was held at the county yard, which was a huge success. We appreciate Sheriff Emberton. We were able to coordinate that together, make one run in the paper, and have one big auction, and it was great. The bush hog you guys approved last month was delivered yesterday, and we can't wait to get that thing out and operating because everything is just blowing up on us. We need to do some mowing. The bid process is complete for the striping of some paved roads in the county, and look for that to occur at some point next month. We're going to stripe Burnt Ridge Road, the new road, the Scotland Formosa Road, East Mountain Road, Graceville Cutoff Road, Highway 389 over at Scotland, and Highway 16 Loop. We also have some projects which are going to be completed as soon as possible. Old Highway number 9 has a drainage and low water crossing project. Dean Road has a low water crossing project. Lakeview Road, Rabbit Ridge Road, the historic train bridge at Shirley, and several other small ones, very small in scale projects. Some of our JPs have come and toured the rock crusher. I hope y'all enjoyed going out there. I certainly enjoyed showing it to you.
It was really nice. Learned a lot.
Thank you. Any questions for me? Thank you. Sheriff Emberton?
I did hand your packet out, we'll go through it, I have a few little things I want to touch on, maybe point out. The deputies are still busy, if you can't tell. But unfortunately, we'll get to some of that information in just a minute. On the top there, we put in the lawn maintenance. This is the labor exchange that we're doing with the county judge. This kind of keeps us a rundown of what equipment we're using and the amount of personnel and the amount of hours. If you have any questions on that, just let me know. I just want to keep up, everybody to keep up with what's going on with them. The next one's our patrol log activity. And at the bottom, we noted that, as y'all will know, we had 2 officers on administration leave last month for most of the month. And also we had our 3 SROs are getting a well-deserved rest for a little bit. So our numbers, looks like we're down just a little bit as far as total contacts. But if you'll go up and match the numbers of the calls that they've taken, they have been staying really close. It's just we were down some deputies throughout that. On our CID log, it's also remaining really close, staying the same since April. We're looking at a total of 443 cases staying on top of those and continuing to turn in their affidavits and assisting the deputies with the calls and cases that they come in with the evidence that they need and turning that over to the prosecutor. Our next one is animal control log. Also, I believe he's got his all our year-to-date totals. We're kind of changing that up a little bit, so it's a little bit easier to read, so that you guys can just follow that across the board. The detention center log. On the next one is our intake, total intake from the different agencies. We are trying to keep our bed inmate total at full capacity as well as we can. And right now, we're at, this last month, we stayed at 19, it looks like, so looks like we've done very well there to keep them there. The last page there is going to be our log to other agencies where we house our inmates, and that's the ones that have been billed and received, as we can keep up with that. Couple of things on our jail advisory board. We've had, Tracy, 3 or 4 meetings now. We've had 3 meetings now. We're on average of about seven members showing up for right now. We did have a couple that showed up our first meeting, and that was, I think it was just a little bit too much for them that they wanted to deal with. And which is understandable, because it's a very big decision to make, or recommendation. So if anyone does have anyone that would be interested in serving on that, we would most likely appreciate that. You know, we need as many people on that advisory board as we can. Put a lot of eyes on numbers and a lot of eyes on our layout of our jail, and exactly what do we need to do that would be best for our county and be able to accommodate for our population. So if you know of anybody else, if you've already given us 2 people, if you've got somebody else, we'll take somebody else. It doesn't just have to be 2 people. If you have somebody else that would be interested in something like that, we'd be interested in talking to them and allowing them to come and visit with us on that. We were working on, me and Deb were working on, mostly Deb, but she's working on another form of income for us. As a matter of fact, we worked on it until we come up here this afternoon, and she's getting us set up back on the SSI program, where we're an SSI reporter. So you get rewarded for reporting that. If somebody comes to our facility and we report them back to SSI, if they choose to kick them out of the system since they got incarcerated, then we get rewarded for being that reporter for those inmates. Instead of that check continuing to go to the family or continuing to go somewhere else, and those checks are not being used for that individual, then they kick that out, we get a reward for it. So it's possible more revenue than we have. Something that they stopped doing in 2013. So we're going to pick that back up. Appreciation to John Bradford for bringing that to our attention, and we took it, we ran with it, and we're right on the line of getting all that figured out. We're working on it right now, so next couple of weeks we should be back up tomorrow with that. Anybody have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other elected officials or department heads that would like to address the court? Court, would you like to address any of the elected officials or department heads that are here? Okay. Next on the agenda is Dale Schulte, Department of Veteran Affairs Suicide Prevention Program. Are they here? Okay. Takes us right along to new business and our first ordinance, which is sponsored by Justice Holt.
Being enacted by the Quorum Court of the County of Van Buren, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to reduce the rate of pay of jurors who are summoned and appear for orientation in Van Buren County. Whereas Van Buren County is under financial strain, and whereas there is a need to reduce the rate of pay for jurors who are summoned and appear at orientation to the mandatory minimum rate of $50 per day. And whereas the mandatory rate of $50 per day will remain for those who serve on the jury. And whereas the ordinance complies with the provisions of ACA 16-34-103-106, it shall be effective upon passage. Now therefore be it ordained by the Quorum Court of Buren County, Arkansas, that Section 1, the pay rate for jurors attending orientation will be reduced to the minimum rate of $15 per day. Section 2, the mandatory rate of $50 per day for jurors serving will remain the same. This ordinance will be in effect upon passage. I move we approve this ordinance.
Second.
This motion has been approved in second. This is also, or this ordinance has been approved in second. This ordinance is one that will require 3 readings. If you choose to have all 3 readings occur at this time, I would entertain a motion to suspend the rules for the purpose of conducting all 3 readings at this time, the next 2 being by title only.
I would like to suspend the rules for you.
Second.
It's been motioned and second to suspend the rules to conduct the next 2 readings at this time by title only. Roll call vote for suspension.
Holt.
Yes.
Nikki.
Yes.
Sarah.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Bradford.
Yes.
Tatum.
Yes.
Lemmings.
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
Thank you. Justice Holt, will you read the second time, please, by title only?
Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of the County of Van Buren, State of Arkansas, in ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to reduce the rate of pay of jurors who are summoned and appear for orientation in Van Buren County.
Thank you. And the third and final reading.
Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of the County of Van Buren, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to reduce the rate of pay of jurors who are summoned and appear for orientation in Van Buren County.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Which budget is this in, like, is there a certain line item?
There's your line item and which judge's budget?
It's in Judge Foster's budget, the jury line, I think, is in Judge Foster.
What's the purpose for this?
Save money.
Save money.
Because to save money?
And it was previously how much, 25?
25.
So it's $10.
Any other discussion? Questions? Roll call vote.
Holt.
Yes.
Nikki.
Yes.
Sarah.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Bradford.
Yes.
Tatum.
Yes.
Lemmings.
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
2019-30.
Thank you. Our next ordinance will be sponsored and read by Justice Tatum.
Been enacted by the Quorum Court of the County of Van Buren, State of Arkansas, an appropriation ordinance to be entitled, an appropriation ordinance to appropriate $238.88 into the County General Sheriff's Department budget, number 1,000-400, and $250 into the Detention Center budget, number 1,000-418. Whereas there has been donations to the Sheriff's Department from the K-9 unit totaling $238.88, and whereas the Choctaw Volunteer Fire Department has paid $250 to the Detention Center for lawn care. Now therefore be it ordained by the Quorum Court, Van Buren County, Arkansas, that Section 1, $238.88 be appropriated into the Sheriff's Department budget, number 1,400-3104, K-9 donations. Section 2, $250 be appropriated into the Detention Center budget, number 1,418-2002, small equipment. I move we pass it.
Second.
Open discussion. Roll call vote.
Holt.
Yes.
Nikki.
Yes.
Sarah.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Bradford.
Yes.
Tatum.
Yes.
Lemmings.
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
2019-31.
Thank you. The next ordinance is also sponsored by Justice Holt.
Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of the County of Van Buren, State of Arkansas, an appropriation ordinance to be entitled, an appropriation ordinance to amend the original appropriation ordinance 2019-59, the annual operating budget for 2019 to increase the projected revenue and appropriate $90,000 into the County General Fund 1000-804-3102 to be transferred into the circuit clerk's reporter's cost fund, 3006-102 as needed. Whereas monies have not come into the circuit clerk's reporter's cost fund as expected, and where the fund is running low will not be enough to make it to the end of the year. Whereas $40,000 of the $90,000 will need to be transferred into the circuit clerk's reporter's cost fund, 3006-102-1001 F/T salaries after the passage of this ordinance. Now therefore be it ordained by the Quorum Court of Linn, County, Arkansas, that Section 1, $90,000 be appropriated into County General 1804-3102 to be transferred to the circuit clerk's reporter's cost fund, 2006-102 as needed. Section 2, $40,000 of the $90,000 to be transferred into the circuit clerk's reporter's cost fund budget, 3006-102-1001 F/T salaries at the passage of this ordinance. Passes.
We have a move for adoption on this ordinance. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion?
I've got some questions. This recorder's cost fund, I noticed there were 26,000, 26,48,27 in the hole, right?
Yes. That is correct.
I got some questions because I don't even know if we can do what this ordinance says. Let me read to you what the statute says on the recorder's cost. A uniform fee to be charged by the recorders in the various counties in the state shall be as follows. I'm sorry, I know this is for recording deeds, deeds of trust, mortgages, release deeds, power of attorney, plans, surveys, notary bonds, foreign judgment, materials liens, and other recordable instruments, except as otherwise prescribed in this section. $15 for one page, one side only, and $5 for each additional page. For recording mortgages, assignments, mortgages releases, and other instruments, multiple instruments are listed in a single document. An additional fee of $15 per instrument listed not to exceed $300 shall be charged, and $8 for filing or recording a certificate of assessment or any other instrument not specified in this subsection. If the recorder waives the requirements of 14, 15, 402B, paragraph 1, or any for good cause, the instrument may be recorded for additional fee of $25. Now listen to this. All fees collected under this section shall be paid into the county treasury to the credit of the fund to be known as the recorder's cost fund. Monies deposited in this fund shall be appropriated and expended for the uses designated in this section by the Quorum Court at the direction of the recorder. Appropriated money shall be placed into line items within the recorder's budgets as approved by the Quorum Court. All monies collected by the recorder as a fee as provided in this section shall be used by the recorder's office to offset administrative costs. At least 25% of the monies collected annually shall be used to purchase, maintain, and operate an automated system, recorded record system. The acquisition and update of software for the automated record system shall be permitted use of these funds. At the discretion of the recorder, any funds not needed for the recorder for any of the other personal purposes under this subsection, C, paragraph 2, may be transferred to the county general fund. Any funds in excess of $1 million held at any time in the county recorder's cost fund shall be transferred to the county general fund. Okay. Specifies in the statute what monies can be put in that fund. You're wanting to take from general fund and put into that recorder's cost fund, which is not specified in here. This fund was started in 1995, for this sole purpose right here. Quorum Courts would not give the offices the money they needed to run their office. So they set aside this fund from these recordings. Only the monies collected from these recordings are supposed to go in this recorder's cost fund. When I went out of office 2 years ago, in that recorder's cost fund was $141,000. Now we're $26,000 in the hole. Nothing in there for automation. The statute specifically says at least 25% of those monies collected must be used for automation.
Can I respond to that?
Oh, are you or do you still have some?
I still have some.
Okay, go ahead, go ahead.
Now, understand that back a few years ago, the clerk decided that she wanted to pay all payroll. That's not specified in this, of this statute. The money has to be spent on stuff in the recorder's office. It's not supposed to be used on payroll. I don't know how we got here. 30 years, we've done it the correct way. Ricky was in there 14 years. I was in there 16. We had plenty of money to work. I never had to come to the Quorum Court to ask money except one time. And Dale, you were in here then. I came and asked for $15,000 to be able to set up a record system so that we could deal with the gas and oil. You may have been here too, Dale.
Remember that?
I paid back from that $15,000 into that fund after I'd done the automation, $110,000. Plus $50,000 a month went into the coffers because of those 10 machines that we leased out to the gas company. I realize the gas companies are gone. But 2 years ago, I had I laid down the key with $141,000, and now we're what, $167,000 spent. I want to know where that money went. You can't pay payroll out of the recorder's cost fund because that's not designated in the statute. And you can't add to from general fund to the recorder's cost fund because that comes from those monies collected by the recorder. We don't have the authority to add to from general fund to that. Now, whatever we did back in 2 or 3 years ago has got us in a pickle. The only thing I can see is that we're gonna have to go back in and revamp that thing, and we can't take payroll out of the recorder's cost fund because that's not what it's designed to do. I'm done.
Debbie?
Okay. As far as the 25% automation, we do pay for our software programs, we pay for other stuff that I think falls under that automation. We did this when I came into office in 2017 because the purpose of it was to try to save county general some money, to not solely be ran out of county general. When we started this, those of you that were here, we discussed this. We don't know if it's gonna work. We want to give it a shot. If it works for a couple of years or 10 years, great. I'm not the only county that does this. So if we're doing it wrong, then a bunch of other counties in the state are doing it wrong too.
You're not doing it like this.
Esther, I gave you your time, please do not. I don't think we've done anything wrong. Now, how it was before, which when we spoke in the budget meeting, how we want to go back is putting 75% of what's collected back in the general, and that's keep 25% in my office to use for the automation stuff. And the payroll go back into the county general, like it has been for years. That's what I'm proposing. We just discussed that. I wish it would have worked. I've told y'all all along. Wish it would've worked. We have not added anything to our office. We've lost 1.5 employees. We haven't added anything to our office new, money-wise. Any furniture or computers we have bought have come out of some of my other funds. They have not come out of general, and I believe maybe one thing come out of our employee cost. Because we have the money there and it wasn't being used and we needed this money. So, I mean, I don't know I don't know why it would matter going back into general and moving the money from general. I know it doesn't say that, and I understand what you're saying, but I believe Ms. Cruz would be the one to tell us legally if that's something we can do. I put it on the spot. I'm sorry.
So I hear what the statute says, and I didn't, this is the first I've heard of this, so I'm not
Okay.
gonna have to research it or read annotations or anything. And when I heard what you read, so it sounds like that lays out specifically what money can go in there. I don't know, and we might need to do a little research to see if that prohibits any of the moving of anything from county general. I know that's what Mr. Bass seems to think that it says, but I would want some time to make sure, that's a pretty major decision to make, so I would want some time to make sure that's what it
We used to, we had payroll, but, and then we had the recorder's cost fund for things. I automated that office and redone all the deed books and everything out of that fund. It didn't cost the county anything. But now we're in the hole. We don't have 25% to do automation.
Sure, but I think I heard you say that you think it's in violation of the statute to move the money.
To move the money from county general because it specifically states where that recorder's cost fund is to come from. If you want to move it into a payroll account, that's a different thing. But you can't, I don't see how you can move it because it specifically states from these things here, that money is to be collected from those writs.
Yeah.
And they are collected from that.
But I'm not sure that just because it gives, the statute provides where the money should come from, it means that it's illegal to move it from county general in addition to where the money for that fund can come from. That's the part that I think I didn't hear the statute say that, but I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I wouldn't want to give an opinion on the spot, without having time to see. If other counties do it this way, then there will be some authority for that, so we should, if it is prohibited.
I have talked to several other counties. Of course, Faulkner County, they're quite a bit bigger than we are. They take all their reporting stuff out of their reporting budget, all the report stuff out of their report budget. Of course, we're not as big as they are. We don't have the money flow they have, so that won't work for us. I talked to Crawford County. Of course, they're a lot bigger than we are too. They completely run out of their reporting. Faulkner County gives nothing to general. They don't even give 75%, like we have always done in the past, to general. They keep it all and they run on it. But of course, they pull in a lot more money a month on reportings than we do. I talked to Cleveland County Clerk. She did the same thing I did. We come in, try to run our office out of our reporting budget to stay out of county general as much as possible. She has since ran into something I ran into. The money's not coming in like it should be. We're having to turn payroll back over to county general. So she's in the same predicament we are. But I do believe that, the treasurer and I have talked about this, and it's not Misty's fault, I'm not blaming Misty by no means. But I believe that my projected income was set too high. And I think that's what started this people. And then we had 3 payrolls in a month off the bat and multiple things. And plus the money has not been coming in. Now, one day this week, we did over $2,000. We haven't done that well since the first of the year. So it fluctuates. You can't control mortgages and deeds. I mean, you just can't control it. When they come in, they come in. So it fluctuates, and I do believe we are going to go up some by the end of the year. I hope we do. I foresee it. Can't promise it, but we're not in this pickle for any wrong doings. I don't believe. I think it's just what it is, and we just got to fix it. that's what the whole purpose was. And it worked for 2 years, but
And we had discussed, I mean, this is a fix, and then at the beginning of the year, going back to the old system.
yes,
Where it was separated the way that
Yes.
it used to be.
yes,
County general would do the payroll and then.
yes,
It
yes.
really hasn't worked because you went from 141,000, now you're 167,000.
Well, I can promise you, it's
And
only because
so
of.
they don't have any money, so it hadn't worked. We
I
drained
just-
the pot dry, and there's nothing there, for automation.
And I said it didn't work. We tried it, it didn't work. And what we were doing was trying to run the office to stay out of county general because our county's been in such a financial distress. At the time, it was a good idea. And I think people that were on the Quorum Court at that time agreed with me. We wouldn't have done it.
Well, that paragraph B sums that up, at the discretion of the recorder. Any funds not needed by the recorder for any of the purposes under the subdivision C2, which is the 25%, may be transferred to the county general. The thing of it is, now we're at the point you need it. You don't have it, and you need it.
Yes,
So
exactly right.
this is gonna have to, we're gonna have to change this up, and I don't know how we can do it this year. But in budget meetings, we need to straighten this out and have not take payroll out of the recorder's cost fund, because it will not. It never was able to supplement that, or totally do that.
So is that not what she's suggesting, was just
Yeah,
changing
I was
that process?
taking it back like it was.
Is that?
That's what she
is
wants
that
to
what I
do.
understand?
She wants to change it.
That's fine and dandy, but we're looking at $90,000. I've sat right here all year, and I've listened to us turn down people for 30,000, 28,000, 15,000.
Are you willing for us to shut her office completely down so she can't work at all?
I don't know what to do.
That's what will happen.
Well,
That's what will happen.
I don't think that's an option.
I didn't
That's
do
not an
this,
option.
Dale.
It's not an option. We're
I
stuck.
didn't do this.
We are stuck.
We're stuck to it.
Exactly.
But I don't
We're
think,
stuck.
I don't think that we can take it out of county general. That's what I'm saying, because the statute doesn't call for that.
I understand.
I think that's something that Ms. Cruz can get back with us.
Yeah, we can let her check it out.
So do we need to table this?
Yeah, we're gonna table it.
Well, I
But I
didn't-
think it's,
If I had known ahead of time, I'd be prepared for
yeah,
an answer, but
I really think it's legal, I really do, but we're gonna have to get her opinion on it.
Well, I have a question before we do that. During the budget meeting, we had discussed, it was 22,000 something at that time.
22 or
Then we
25,
went from
somewhere around that area.
22 to.
Because the other payroll.
A buffer with 40, and now we're up to 90.
Well,
That's what it
that
is.
was my question. My question was, why does it say 90? Because we were only
Did
asking.
you listen to what I read? It says 90 as needed.
Yeah.
You're questioning 40.
I understand that, but we have to appropriate the 90.
Yes. But we're not gonna give her 90.
Appropriation is into county general fund,
Yeah, right.
but then to move it over to the recorder's cost fund, other than the 40,000 as needed. And
Well, none of this was discussed, they just threw at us, so that's why.
Well, in my other, if you remember in a budget meeting, I had two ideas. I didn't know if either one would work. Maybe just cover what we're in the red right now and see if it will build itself up. But then the possibility, a month down the road, we're gonna be in the red a little bit again. So should we just put the 20, should we put the 40, just to get us to the end of the year? If there's any extra bit of the year to clean it up. And I think that was the purpose of the 90 when I talked to Pam today after why it said 90. Because that concerned me because it looks a lot worse than 20 or 40,000. But I understand what she was saying about setting it there, keeping it in county general. That way it's already appropriated, and if we do have to pull it, we don't have to go through all this again to get it put over there.
Did we not talk about that in budget meeting?
No, we didn't talk about the 90s.
I
I
never
don't think
talked
so.
about 40,000.
40,000,
Yeah, we
yeah,
talked about
90,000
Yeah.
never spoken about.
Yeah, no.
there was an 85,000.
Well, no, I think where that come in is, I think Misty had a number of 72,000.
No,
Is
we-
what she projected that we would be under, but she and I didn't quite agree on that little number, but we're okay.
Yeah, we're okay. We figured the numbers, and there was one extra payroll that I wasn't even figuring in on that 75,000. And I'm projecting just the numbers on what we're in the hole, what's come in, and what's went out. And just payroll, that's if nothing else was paid out of that, we're looking at about 70,000.
But does that count in what we're gonna bring in?
That's
That's not
not
counting anything we bring in, okay?
Because I estimated just what average a month that's been
We're
brought
bringing
in,
in.
and it's around 68,000. So you have to take, you know, like she said, there may be good months that may come in, but what's come in so far,
It's
I
just
mean,
been slow. It's been a very
Yeah.
slow year. I mean, it has. But, you know, we gotta remember that 40,000 was budgeted in at the first of the year. You know, so it's not like we're asking for all my payroll for the whole year plus another 40. That's not the case, so.
It sounds like this is gonna get tabled, but if this were passed the way it is, and the 90 were approved, what would be, after the 40 was gone, what would be the step to get it? What would be the next step? Like, okay, the 40's gone, let's say the 40's gone. We come back, and we do this, you know, I'm trying to understand the reasoning for doing 90 instead
We
of
would
40.
decrease.
You wouldn't have to pay to do another ordinance.
No.
You can do it by court order.
It would just be appropriate, to just be able to move it over by a quarter, right?
Yes.
Like a transfer.
Kind of like a transfer, yeah.
yeah, I did talk to the auditors, yesterday about that. And he said if we did that ordinance, that we could transfer that money throughout the year per that ordinance. So as long as we have that appropriated, we can transfer it.
But does it have to go through the Quorum Court to be
No.
approved as it goes through, or is it
Not the
just
court
already?
order, just the ordinance.
I think what she's saying is by, later in the year, we have to pull more from that, other than the 40, does it have to come back for the quorum?
No, it would be done by court order. It would be signed by Dale.
I believe Carol Cruz has some words.
Okay.
Is there anything in addition to the statute that makes you think that it's illegal to transfer money from the county general into this fund? Or you're just basing it
I'm
on?
basing it on what it gives specifics on what the recorder does. Those are things that the recorder does.
Yeah.
There's writ. I understand some of the writs have been done away with. But all of those monies that the customer comes in and pays for a deed, that goes into the recorder's coffers.
Sure, yeah, I understand.
And that's to be used for the administration of the office. But, there again, it's all messed up because we don't have a payroll account. We're pulling it out of that, and that's never been able to sustain it, and it never will.
But you think this statute prohibits the court from moving
Money's into,
okay.
because that specifically says what that recorder's, it wasn't that they had a recorder's cost fund, and then they decided they're just gonna do this. They created the recorder's cost fund with those figures.
Well,
And
it's-
over the years, it's changed.
Well, it says how fees end up in that account, but I don't see, just on the black letter law, I don't see a prohibition to move county general money. It may be contained somewhere else, which is the part I would want to double check. But if you're just basing on the statute, and then there's nothing in the annotations or amendments either that would prohibit him from moving money from, certainly it doesn't seem like that's maybe the design for the fund, but it says, it gives an origin, an organic origin for that money that it seems to me that you're assuming the second part, that if we're in the situation that we're in, that the court can't move money from county general.
Well,
I don't see that in this statute.
The recorder's cost fund was built or has for this specific person, this specific reason, because clerks had payroll, and they could pay their payroll, but they didn't have any money for administration works in the office, and that's why this was set aside.
Okay, but assuming, I think it sounds like everyone's agreeing with what the current situation is, but you think because this statute lays out how the money is deposited and going to be appropriated, that would mean that county general, no money can be moved. I don't see that in the statute, but again, I would, be happy to research and
My
make sure there's not some other
question
statute.
is, why did we do away with the payroll to get in this mess in the first place?
Yeah, well, that's not a question for the county attorney, so.
Are you talking about the payroll line item?
Yes,
Okay.
she did away with that and wanted to pay everything out of the course cost fund, which it will not sustain. And
She
this
just
has to be
running it.
changed, this has to be changed at the end of the year. I make a motion that we go ahead and pay this, and then let it build up and come back and pay what we have, but $90,000. If we donate give $90,000, we have to apologize to Misty and Gina in the library, because we shut them down.
Yeah, we're not giving them 90,000.
Well, that's what the ordinance
Only
says.
appropriating, it's not giving it to them.
And y'all can
You're
also
appropriating,
amend the
But
amount.
that's not what we're giving.
Well, I would entertain a motion to adopt this ordinance. I would also entertain a motion to amend the ordinance, or a motion to table. But I don't think the table would be as prudent at this time. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that we talk to the legislative audit and find out what their solution is.
And I do have a question.
Is there a second? Okay, back to discussion.
One more thing, Rick, did we talk to Lindsay Bailey at the AEC?
I have not, no, I have not.
She'd be a good contact.
Justice Tatum.
Have we went through, since you took office, and since we've changed this, have we went through legislative audit?
2 of them, 3, 4.
Yeah, we've had 2 audits since we've changed.
And they didn't say anything?
When is it necessary that you need money?
Well, on Misty's end, her line is in the red, and I understand her worry about that because she's not supposed to let one go in the red. So on her side of it, it's urgent, like immediate urgent. Cam's side, it still shows we have the money there, even though in Misty's books don't. My office is still getting paid at this point. So, to me, I would like for it to be fixed sooner than later, whatever we do.
We won't be able to do another payroll out of it if we don't put money into it, because Misty's in the red.
Yes, exactly, that's what I was saying, yeah.
So it needs to be now.
It needs to be now, if we can figure out a way to, what we need to do.
When I talked to the auditor, I showed him the ordinance, and he didn't say anything about it not being able to do that.
I don't know if there's anything just in that statute that gives me any concerns. If Mr. Bass knows of something else, and has a lot of experience in this, there may be something out there, but just on that, I think that he's reading into, here's where the money can come from, here's how it has to be dealt with, and so that means you can't transfer it to county general. I don't see that in the statute, and I haven't seen that in similar statutes. Again, doesn't mean there's maybe not some case out there or sort of opinion, but just based on that statute, I don't see a prohibition against doing what the ordinance proposes. But I'm happy to research it, and for future reference, if you'll let me know ahead of time, something like this comes up, I'll be,
Hey, I didn't get
make sure,
my package this morning. so-
Okay, very good. Just,
Did you get it online?
It was emailed, he wanted it mailed, so he probably got it.
Yeah, because I got mine several days ago. Yeah, email.
So what I'm
Did you get email?
understanding is that everyone is kind of off-put by the 90,000.
Yeah.
Can we change that to just the 40 and then revisit it later?
I would entertain that motion to amend.
That would make me feel a lot better, because that looks a lot better than.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to amend this ordinance to take $90,000 to $40,000. We will Roll call vote the amendment.
Holt,
Yes.
Nikki,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Bradford,
Yes.
Tatum,
Yes.
Lemings,
Yes.
Bass.
No.
At this time, I would entertain a motion to adopt with the as amended.
Make a motion to adopt it.
Second.
Motion's been made and second to adopt this ordinance as amended. Roll call vote. Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Nikki,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Bradford,
Yes.
Tatum.
Yes.
Lemings.
Yes.
Bass.
No.
2019-32.
That's all you need from me. Thank you for all your work. Appreciate it.
Our next ordinance is sponsored by Justice Bradford.
Being enacted by the Quorum Court of the County of Van Buren, State of Arkansas, and appropriation orders to be entitled, and appropriation orders to amend the original appropriation orders 2019-59, the annual operating budget for 2019, to increase the projected revenue and appropriate $1,500 into the county judge's budget, 1,000-100 from the county road budget, 2,000-200. Whereas the county judge's salary was split between the county general and the county road, and whereas part of what should have been paid out of the county road budget had been paid from county general, causing it to be short, and whereas $1,500 should be transferred and appropriated into 1,000-100 from 2,000-200. Now therefore be it ordained by the Quorum Court of Van Buren County, Arkansas, that Section 1, the following be appropriated and transferred into 1,000-100 from County Road. 2,000-200. $1,011.57 into 1008 retirement. $153.85 into number 1,006 Social Security match, and $334.58 to number 1,001 salary full time. I move this motion be approved. This is a resolution be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt this ordinance. Is there any discussion? Questions? Roll call vote.
Holt.
Yes.
Nikki.
Yes.
Sarah.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Bradford.
Yes.
Tatum.
Yes.
Lemings.
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
2019-33.
Thank you. We have an ordinance that I was running down the hall right when Pam had sent the packet out. So we'll need to suspend the rules to entertain the next ordinance, which is sponsored by Mary Phillips. So at this time, do I hear a motion to suspend the rules to entertain this ordinance?
Make a motion to suspend the rules.
I second.
Motion has been made and seconded to suspend the rules to entertain this one ordinance. Roll call vote for suspension.
Holt.
Yes.
Nikki.
Yes.
Sarah.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Bradford.
Yes.
Tatum.
Yes.
Lemings. Bass.
Yes.
Justice Phillips.
Okay. Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of the County of Van Buren, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to authorize the sale of tires to Marion County, Arkansas, and to appropriate $3,600 into 2,000-200-2008 tires and tubes. Whereas the road department owns 9 tires which do not fit any equipment currently being used by county equipment. And whereas the tires are at least 5 years old, and whereas the tires did not sell at the recently held public auction, and whereas Marion County has a need to use the tires. Now therefore be it ordained by the Quorum Court of Van Buren County, Arkansas, that the Van Buren County Road Department is hereby authorized to sell the following tires to Marion County, Arkansas. 3 never-driven Michelin 14 by 24 grader tires for $500 each, and 6 retread Unicare 14 by 24 grainer tires for $350 each, for a total of $3,600, to be appropriated into line item number 2000-200-2008 tires and tubes. I move we adopt this ordinance.
We have a motion and a second to adopt this ordinance. Any discussion, any questions? Or before discussion, this is more than just an appropriation. So I would entertain a motion to suspend the rules to conduct the 3 readings at this time.
I make a motion to suspend rules for 3 readings.
By title only.
I second.
Motion's made and second to suspend the rules to conduct the next 2 readings by title only at this meeting. Roll call vote for suspension.
Holt.
Yes.
Nikki.
Yes.
Sarah.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Bradford.
Yes.
Tatum.
Yes.
Lemmings.
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
Thank you. Please conduct the second reading by title only.
Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of the County of Van Buren, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to authorize the sale of tires to Marion County, Arkansas, and to appropriate $3,600 into 2000-200-2008 tires and tubes.
And the third and final reading.
Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of the County of Van Buren, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to authorize the sale of tires to Marion County, Arkansas, and to appropriate $3,600 into 2000-200-2008 tires and tubes.
Thank you. Now, open discussion. These were just sitting in the shop, dry rotting. We tried to sell them, couldn't. Found a buyer for them. We ended up getting basically out of them what we probably paid for them about 5 years ago. To go buy them now, they're worth about $100 more right now. I thought it was very fair.
It's a good price.
Yeah. All right. Roll call vote.
Holt.
Yes.
Nikki.
Yes.
Sarah.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Bradford.
Yes.
Tatum.
Yes.
Lemmings.
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
2019-34.
Thank you. Next, we have a resolution sponsored by Brown.
Be it resolved by the Quorum Court of the County of Van Buren, State of Arkansas, a resolution to be entitled, a resolution authorizing the purchase of water, coffee, creamer, sweetener, cups, and napkins by the county offices. Whereas the county has historically allowed the purchase of coffee for the county offices, and whereas the cost of coffee, creamer, sweetener, cups, and napkins is a very nominal expense, and whereas the expenses are approved in the annual operating budget, and whereas patrons of county offices are welcome to help themselves to these products which fulfills a public purpose. Therefore, it be it resolved by the Quorum Court of Van Buren County, Arkansas, that the county clerk is hereby authorized to pay claims for the purchases of water, coffee, creamer, sweetener, cups, and napkins remitted by county offices. I make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt this resolution. Any discussion?
I would just make sure that on this, I don't have a problem with it, just make sure that it is out for the public.
It has
Not
to
hidden
be
in
for
a
our
kitchen,
auditors.
not hidden behind the kitchen somewhere or something like.
The only one thing that presents an issue is the coffee pot. And we can't risk a kid pulling that thing off and scalding themselves. That's why it's behind the counter.
Well, I don't have a
That's-
problem here. but
Right.
in the office.
Right. And that is, and you bring a very good point, and that's why this needs to be run as a resolution, because we do need to be offering that to the people who walk into the office. Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Holt.
Yeah.
Nikki.
Yes.
Sarah.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Bradford.
Yes.
Tatum.
Yes.
Lemmings. Bass.
Yes.
2019-10.
19 what?
10.
We charge for board members.
We have one transfer request from line item 1,500, 2002 small equipment to 1,500, 1,001 salaries full-time for $213 from the OEM office. This is because by our personnel policy, comp hours accrued over 120 may be paid to the individual, and that's what happened here. Gene. Do I hear all those all in favor of approving the transfer, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any against? We skipped over one of our places earlier they weren't here yet. So at this time, we will entertain Dale Schulta, Department of Veteran Affairs Suicide Prevention Program.
Evening. So this is the first time I've ever been in a quorum court. This is just trying to blow my mind. I'm glad y'all have that job and I don't mind. Okay. But I did see something very interesting when I first walked in. I seen the agenda. I seen where you all, number one, went to order. Number two, had a word of prayer. And number three, said the pledge of allegiance. And that is right. You can see that people actually still care enough to take that into consideration before talking about anything. So, that being said, I'll try not to take too much of your time. I don't even know if this is a proper setting for me today, so I apologize for being late, number one. Any veterans in the house at all? Any veterans anywhere? Right here? Thank you for your service, sir. Right here? So what we are facing is, I'm going to try to stay away from numbers. I'm going to make this quick and hopefully, okay, number one, I'm not here for any money today. I'm only here for the hearts of the people of the county of Van Buren. I don't know if you know this or not. Arkansas, the state of Arkansas, when it comes to suicide, this is per capita, okay? The state of Arkansas is the 10th highest state in the nation for suicide. Scary, right? Van Buren County, we have 75 counties in our state. You are number 18. We are losing 22 veterans every day in our nation due to suicide. Mostly our younger veterans, and then our aging veterans. The in-between, they're fairly stable, so they get older. So Congress passed an act called the Clay Hunt Act. And what they did is they dumped a ton of money into the VA and said something has to be done about this. Basically what we're looking at is that this has become an epidemic amongst our veterans. It's just very sad that we're losing so many people so quickly for many, many different reasons. Now, I think one of the reasons why we see that the state of Arkansas is 10th in the nation is because we are an extremely rural state. Lots and lots and lots of rural veterans in the state of Arkansas, lots of little tiny hometowns. These guys, they go off, they do what they did. We send them, they go off, they come back. They may have a job, they may not. We don't know what they come back with, but we know there's a lot of stuff with PTSD, mental health sickness, drugs and alcohol, self-medicating, disconnecting themselves from family, friends, churches, community, and that's why I'm here today. All I'm going to do here is that, and let me say this, the VA is not in the business to run anything in your county in any way, shape, or form. What we do want is we want to go out and we're just trying to let people know that this epidemic that's going on needs some help. So we are basically begging the citizens of each county to step up and do something in some way or fashion to help veterans that may be in trouble. Now, that's a big task. I put together a team called CVET, Community Veteran Engagement Team in Polk County, MENA being the centralized hub of that county. And what I did was I went around to the American Legion, the DAVs, the VFWs, and every organization that you can think of that's already organized with veterans or military based. Then I went to Elks and Eagles and Lions and Rotary Clubs. Then I went to ministerial alliances and all those type of things. And I started to dust up in Polk County for approximately 8 months. We threw a great big meeting in town. The college gave us the facilities to use for no charge. The newspapers, they put out stuff advertised for no charge. The radios advertised for no charge. And we were able to draw 250 people to a community meeting. Had a guy in town that fed everybody barbecue for free. And we put together 15 people that are the board members of CVET, Community Veteran Engagement Team. Now, their job is to basically go out into the camp and figure out and brainstorm and try to figure out what are some things that we can do that will draw our veterans back to their communities. So basically, it works like this. When you go out, you do certain things, and you start inviting veterans to come. They may come, they may not want to come. There's lots of different things going on out there, and we understand that there's a percentage of veterans that are really not interested in anything the VA has to say. I'm okay with that. But I haven't met a person yet that doesn't have a desire to be cared for or loved by somebody somewhere somehow. I think it's a need that we all have as people. And what we start seeing is that when we do these little events and we do things, it has a tendency to kind of draw some of our veterans that have disconnected themselves from things back to their community, and they slowly but surely begin to heal somewhat, and they get re-involved in the communities. Now, these are some highly trained individuals and all kinds of different walks of life, but I say when you heal a veteran, you heal a community, you heal a community, you heal a state, and that's really what we're after. This is a very slow process because it's brand new. Nobody really knows what to do. So what the VA is doing is that I help to try to bring the team together. The reason I'm here today is just so that the people here in this county, you're the people that are running the county, I want you to know that I'm going to be out on the streets and I'm going to be out talking to people and asking questions and trying to get people involved. And my number one concern was that that was okay with the county. That was my number one concern. After that, then I can just go to work and we'll do whatever we can to try to put this together. I don't know, I can't tell the future. I don't know how it's going to play out. It can get a little sticky sometimes because people have lots of different ideas about things. I'm okay with that. But what the VA will do is that as events take place in the community, so I'm talking to your veteran service officer, and he says he doesn't remember there ever being a Veterans Benefit Fair in Van Buren County. Is that true? Yes or no? Does anybody know what a Veterans Benefit Fair is? Right here.
I'm not aware of one ever.
Pardon?
I'm not aware of one ever.
Okay, so what's something that we can do? So basically, a Veterans Benefit Fair, what happens is we bring every entity that the VA has to your county. We invite the mental health people, the hospitals, the clinics, the first responders, the sheriffs, the police, the mayors, and everybody that's somebody that has, that's in contact with people or veterans in any way, shape, or form. And we bring all those people here, and we advertise that we're going to do this, and then veterans start thinking, you know what, I never did file for this claim, or I didn't do this, or I didn't do that, or I'd like to talk to somebody about maybe some mental health care, or even maybe seeing a different doctor, or whatever the case is, makes no difference. What we want to do is we want to bring as many resources to the table as we can bring, so that when the veterans come in, that they come in and they see that people care, and then each organization does what they want, how they want it. So that's part of the job of the CVET team, is to bring events and things into the community that just re-engages the veteran back to the community. Does that make sense? So that's really the only reason why I'm here tonight, because I just wanted to present it to you so that you understand why I'm here, and I'm going to get run out of town by the sheriff. But it's hard to watch people suffer. And I just feel that our veterans deserve much better. We are entering an age now when our Vietnam veterans they're getting up there in age, and we all know the story of what happened in Vietnam. And it breaks my heart to see veterans. Let me put it to you like this. Out of the 22 veterans that are committing suicide daily, only 44% of the veterans that have served in this nation have even signed up for benefits at the VA. So the numbers we're getting are only the numbers that we know of veterans that have signed up. That means we got another, what is it, 50 some odd, 56% of veterans that have not even signed a piece of paper to be entitled to what their benefits are through the VA. Mental health, all of that. We have a new Mission Act. The new Mission Act says if you've been tied to the VA in the last 24 months, you're automatically grandfathered in. We also have now where some people agree, some people don't, but here's the deal. Even if you're a dishonorably charged veteran, you get 1 year of free mental health help. Okay? So the VA is doing lots of different things to try to serve their veterans. What I'm concerned about is where are they, who are they, and what do they need, and what can this community do as a hub to make life different and bring those people back in our community. So that's basically it. Anybody have any questions about anything or not? Or,
Thank you.
okay? Appreciate it. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
We're about to run out of tape, so do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So adjourned.